It is exactly 9:37. This is News and Views on Salam Media, and we are now looking at the ANC Youth League has called for a permanent social relief of distress grant for the unemployed, including one which exceeds minimum wage for those who have a degree. So, what they're asking for is the 350 Rand grant be raised to 1,500 Rand, and for unemployed degree people, that the grant of 4,500 rands per month is paid out to all of these unemployed persons. Let's talk with a Public Servants Association spokesperson. That's you, Claude and Naiker. Very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Very good morning. Thank you for having me.
Is this affordable? Does government have the money, given that we have such a small tax base? When I say tax base, people who actually pay their taxes timeously. How is this all going to pan out if it is, in fact, given the go ahead?
Well, firstly, it would be great if, firstly, the SRD, the Social Relief Grant, could be increased to 1,500 Rand. But as you're aware, there was a meeting recently between Treasury and the President where there's a call that in a dire economic situation at the moment, and in Treasury proposals, obviously the social relief grant comes to an end next year itself. And in order for that to continue beyond
Sure.
March 2024, there's got to be a lot of cost-cutting measures, and there's some drastic measures in the proposals that's actually projected by Treasury. Some of them are considering closing down some of the government departments, merging other departments itself. So, if that is going to be the situation, we're going to face a very dynamic, economic, bleak out future come 2024. Because if there's going to be closure of government departments or the merger of departments, ultimately there's going to be a reduction of staff. This will lead to retrenchments in the public service, thereby creating a bigger unemployment rate in our country. Now, if we look at some of the cost containing measures that is being proposed, we currently have a very dysfunctional public service in that in institutions like health departments, the police, and education, there's a severe and dire need for more vacancies to be filled. And if we go in the route of what Treasury is proposing now, then we have a serious problem come next year or immediately that we have a problem itself. Of all the proposals that is actually projected or proposed in this paper, it's surprising that government does not once mention the issue about maladministration and fraud and corruption. And I think as the PSA, the Public Servants Association, we've been calling out for government to root out corruption and maladministration because this is one of the biggest factor that's contributing to the economic dire outlook that we have. Government just simply does not have the know-how or the political will to get rid of corruption and maladministration. If you read this morning, which is very directly related to our story this morning, there's a 5.2 billion problem with the UIF, that is the Unemployment Insurance Commissioner, where they've sent out a tender without doing due diligence. Now, this money was to be used to try and alleviate the poverty, to try and reduce the unemployment rate in our country. But unfortunately, it's been squandered. It's been diverted into a situation where it does not create jobs for the most vulnerable in our country. Now, how do we get to grips with this corruption and maladministration? And we don't have a foothold in to address this problem, and yet we're saying to ourselves, we need to close down departments, we need to merge departments. Had government acted swiftly in terms of maladministration, I don't think we'll be sitting in the problem as we envisage today. Your opening remarks is that to increase the tax base. There's also proposal to increase VAT. Currently, all citizens of our country, including public servants, are suffering immensely. Now, to increase the VAT on basic commodities, we're going to have a problem. We're going to suffer. Currently, people are finding it very difficult to make ends meet. So to assume that we do increase the VAT at this stage by 1% or 0.5%, imagine the outlook, imagine the problems that we're going to face come next year. I think we're already in a very big debt trapped in terms of our loan repayments. We're paying almost R1 billion a month. So I think we got a very bleak future coming upon us in the near future.
You talk about the increase in VAT, and I think what comes immediately to mind when we talk about cash-strapped consumers is the steep petrol price that we've just had 9 September, and it's already been forecast that October we're in for another shock as far as the petrol price increase is concerned. So that's going to truly set us back. Can you imagine what that's going to do to taxi fares for people commuting to and from work? So we're in for a shocking time going ahead. And I also want to mention, quite coincidentally, I'm talking with you, but my next interview is with the Public Service and Commercial Union, and they are talking about government being absolutely insane to get rid of 80,000 public servants. If the knife of retrenchments goes in, it will cut out flesh, not fat. That's what I'm going to talk about next in a minute or two. How do we move forward then on this situation? Because you have indicated it would be great to up, the SRD grant, because 350 buys you almost nothing these days. How about the issue around allowing a grant for unemployed graduates? Do you think that would be feasible? Maybe 4,500 rand is not affordable, but just something at least.
Well, look, if you're looking at a grant for the graduates, is that sustainable at this stage? Because simply we cannot afford 350 Rand to the unemployed. Where are we going to get the money to actually give a grant to the graduates itself? I think what we should be doing is that we should be investing in other areas of our economy, like public infrastructure, where it will create more sustainable jobs for the graduates. That's the one area itself. One of the other areas that we've been mooting for a very long time is that cabinet is bloated. If we get rid of a number of deputy ministers and scale that down, we could obviously save a lot of money there. I think some of the issues that we're talking about, like we look at the introduction of the national health insurance. The PSA has always been in favor of the national health insurance, but is that feasible? Is it practical to implement it now? We say, listen, let's get our infrastructure right. Let's get our hospitals right. Let's create jobs. Let's fill vacancies where we can. Let's look at goals. Let's look at issues that are immediate, that we can save our economy. There's no hiding behind the fact to say that we are in dire straits. So let's look at some immediate issues that we can try and address. I think, as I said, if it's affordable, yes, a grant to the graduates would be great. But as I said, if we look at trying to sustain the 350 Rand SRD and we're unable to do that, I think the 4,500 Rand grant to undergraduates is going to be a pipe dream itself. So I think basically we need to look at immediate goals, how we can try and sustain the economy, how we can try and improve the economy itself. Job creation, I think, is on the most crucial thing that one can actually do now. Job creation is something that we need to look at seriously. If we are able to do that, it automatically increases the tax base itself. It automatically improves the household income of the most vulnerable in our society. If one is working in a household, they normally do not support the people that are close to you. They support the people that surround you itself. So this helps not only the community, but the population at large in our country. So I think the 4,500 Rand would be a great idea, but I think at this stage, whether government can afford that, I don't see that happening. I think we need to look at the SRD and see how we can try and help the most vulnerable in our society. If we can get that right, it would be great. It would be a start itself.
That's where we leave it. And obviously, these financial pressures that we talk about really challenges our economy and the running of the country. And we know it's due to load shedding, sticky inflation, poor growth, cadre deployment, and of course, large scale corruption, as you've indicated right at the beginning of the interview. But thank you indeed, Claude. Nice talking with you. You guys keep your eyes peeled and make sure that. Government does deliver, does its work. And together, I think we need to try and stamp out corruption. But, we do have a long, long fight ahead of us. Thank you for your
Yes.
time. God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
It is exactly 9:48. News and views on Salam Media. Standing by to talk with us is Astrid Al Anani, Public Service Commercial Union Deputy President. And we're going to be looking at government thinking of getting rid of 80,000 public servants. How is that going to play out in our already stretched economy? Stay with us.